Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Brandon. I'm the designer of Melodies of the Seasons. This is the top of the box, by the way. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to play the game Melodies of the Seasons. Alright, let's get this party started. So, unlike my other games, this is going to be a lot quicker because of the location where I'm shooting at. I'm in the kitchen. A lot more distractions, a lot more noises, people, you know, yada yada yada. Take everything out of the box. That's the first thing you need to do. Numero uno, take everything out of the box, and that's detailed in, in the rules booklet that I just showed right there on camera. Everything out of the box. So we got the cards, the Bittersweet Symphony cards over here. We have the major melody cards over here. We have the minor melody cards over here, and then we have the sets, the movement sets, or movement card sets, I should say, per player. In this case, we're going to have 3 players in this demonstration. I'll be the red player, which is in the middle. You'll have the purple player and the orange player. And don't forget this little die. It's tiny, but it is necessary because that helps you determine when a season ends. And we'll go on from there. So now you notice that I have all the tokens on my right side here, which would be your left side, and I just put them in order of the token type. So like this is you can barely see that, but the Bittersweet Symphony tokens I just put in a pile. The half notes, the whole notes, and then the quarter notes are just in their own piles. Colors are irrelevant. Players can have as many of the normal tokens, which are the quarter note, whole note, and half notes, as much as they want in their inventory. But with the Bittersweet Symphony tokens over here, players can have 3 at a time only in their inventory. I'll get more into that later. This is still part of setup. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so make sure these cards are shuffled. The Bittersweet Symphony, you don't want to have too many duplicates right away because that would be a bad shuffle. Make sure that the minor melody cards are shuffled. And when I say make sure they're shuffled, I mean make sure they are shuffled well. There are a lot of minor melody cards in this game. Shuffle them all together, put them in one deck, and they go at the top of the playmat, which I'll get to in a moment. So for the major melody cards, these are a little bit differently. Or why did I say differently? They're a little bit different from the minor melody cards. You have 4 types. You have the winter major melody cards. You have the autumn major melody cards, and the spring major melody cards, and of course, I can barely reach. Of course, the summer major melody cards. So what we want to do here is we want to have a deck of 4 cards exactly from all of these. Okay? We're not going to use them all in the game. We're only going to use 4 cards. So what you need to do is you need to take all the summers together, shuffle them, pick one, and then put it over here somewhere. We'll do the same. I'm just going to do this off camera real quick, and then I'll show you what I did. So you should have 8. Yeah, so there should be 8 cards, major melody cards that you're not going to use. Put those away. Put them in the box. I don't care. Do what you need to, okay? So once you have the 4 major melody cards that you're going to be using for the game, and don't look at them, obviously, you're going to put them in order of the seasons that you're playing. In this case, we all decided, me and my 2 friends over here decided that we're going to start off with winter. So the winter one would go on top of the deck. And we're going to end on autumn. So it'd be winter, spring. Let's see. Whoops. Hold on. Winter, spring, summer. Why couldn't I remember that? So it should be like this. For me, it's going to be winter, followed by spring, followed by summer, and lastly, autumn. Okay. So you put that at the major melody deck position on your playmat. Make sure that the measure die is showing at 4. Make sure everyone is starting on the note, which is middle C, which I just titled the season. So winter, summer, spring, autumn, you get it. To complete the setup, what I did off camera was I made sure that the first major melody card went in position 1, and then a melody card, and then basically the minor melodies go in position 2, 3, and 4. And now once all of that is set up, then you're ready to play the game. Okay, during the movement phase, which is the phase that determines basically everything, Each player has these 5 cards. They choose one that they want to use in order to get a specific note on the keyboard, which is over here, down there. And yeah, you each do this simultaneously at the same time, but you don't show people what you're gonna pick. So let's do an example. In this movement phase, what happened was first I moved the measure die down 1 to show players that, hey, after this movement, we only have 3 more turns before the season is gone. Next, we all chose our movement cards that we wanted to use. I decided to go 1 to the left, as well as player number 3 decided to go 1 to the left, while player number 2, which is the purple one, I guess, decided to go to the right too. So I'm gonna move those right now. I'll show you what happens. Okay, so I wrote this specifically in the rules book right here, that only during the first movement phase of the game, if 2 or more player pawns are on the same note, they cannot collect tokens that are related to that note. And as you can see here, the note's kind of small, but that's a Bittersweet Symphony token that they would have otherwise received, which are these things right here, but they cannot, so they get nothing. However, purple is by themselves, so they get 1 whole note token of any color, really, but blue was there, so they're like, okay, that's cool, I'll take one of those. And before I forget, because 1 pawn landed on a Bittersweet Symphony note on the keyboard down there, the measure die, which determines how many movement phases are in a season, goes up 1. Where's the 4 on this? Wait, okay, there we go. 4. See, I can count 4. Okay. From here on out, if 1 or more players happen to land on the same note, like let's say the next turn, player 1 and I'm player 1, but player 1 and player 3 land on that space, neither of us could collect a whole note token. And obviously, you want to try to collect whatever tokens are related to the melodies on the board or on the season, because you want to get points. All minor melody cards, I'll just point this out this time, all minor melody cards are worth 2 points, and all major melody cards are worth 5 points. Okay, so let's talk about rest for a moment, because rest is the only movement card in which players need to stay in their current positions in order to purchase the melody cards. And the whole point of this game are to get as many melody cards as you can, because they give you points, and whoever has the most points wins. It's pretty self-explanatory. Again, it's in the rules booklet. So yeah, let's explain rest. In this case, we all chose rest. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I like this melody card right here. So I'm gonna pay, well first, before I even pay for it with the tokens I have to ask anyone else. Is anyone else interested in this card right here? And everyone's like, nah, that's okay, you can have it. And I say, okay, thanks. Just like that, okay, thanks. So I paid the tokens necessary, and I'm just gonna put them to the side. Put the card I want to the side, and obviously a new minor melody needs to come out to replace that. Oh, look at that, that's cute. In the same instance, players 2 and 3 also chose rest, and they're like, you know what? We would like some melodies too. And so they're like, okay, player 2, which melody do you want? They're like, I want this one. Player 3's like, I also want that one. So what happens? Well, when a case like this occurs, I have a little bidding system that needs to resolve before players can move on. So how does bidding work exactly? Well, all players who want the melody card, first of all, need to have the cost of the melody card readily available. In this case, both player 2 and 3 do. So I'm just gonna put those aside, or I'll just put it on top to show that they both have it. So there's that one, and then right here, player 3 also has the cost necessary for this particular melody card. Now, once all players who want that same card have their tokens readily available to put back in the inventory, or put back in the piles, I should say, then the rest of their tokens can be used as bidding points, or just bidding tokens, I guess. Yeah, sure, let's call them that. Well, excuse me, sir. So now player 3 has to make a decision. They have to say to themselves, do I really want that melody card? Am I going to risk 1 token or 2 tokens to get it? But they're looking at the pile or the inventory that player 2 has, and player 2 obviously has an extra token. So player 2 needs to decide, hey, do I want to risk just getting it with just 2? Or should I just put all my tokens in? So they both secretly take their inventory of tokens, and then they're like, okay, I'm gonna bid that much. And let's say player 2 was like, I knew you were gonna bid that much, but at the same time, I'm gonna bid all of mine. So obviously, player 2 has an extra bidding token. So player 2 would then take the Melody card and take all of the tokens that they wagered, as well as the cost of the card, and put them back to the pile. So player 3, even though they didn't get the Melody card here, they take all their tokens back to their inventory, including the original cost of the card. So I'm just gonna move this to the side, and of course, once that's gone, a new minor Melody card comes out to replace it. If both players in this case decided to bid the same amount of tokens during the first round of bidding for this one Melody card, then they need to continue bidding so they start over again with a new bid until someone outwagers the other one. So in this case, now I'm going to be talking about the Bittersweet Symphony cards, and I made a mistake earlier in this video. I said when two players move on a Bittersweet note down here that they get to pick up the tokens. That's not the case. I was thinking of something else. When you move on a Bittersweet Symphony note on the keyboard down here, your first reaction should be to take a card. That is assuming that you're the only one on that note. If another player lands on it with you, any amount of players actually land on it with you, then no one takes a card, but the measure dice still goes up. So in this case, all three players decided to go onto a Bittersweet Symphony area of the keyboard, so everyone's gonna get one card. But also the measure dice was at 2, okay? So earlier in the video I said whenever you move on a Bittersweet Symphony area, it goes up by one. I gotta remember that. Sorry, I'm discombobulated a little bit here, but it goes up by 1 for every player who lands on that area. So 2 plus 3 is 5. There's 5. Oh, I should show it. There's 5. So now everyone has 5 more turns in this season, and they all get a card. Now, this is going to be an interesting dilemma, because what if one of these cards are duplicates? And what happens? And I'll explain. So I'm going to say player 1's going to get this card. Actually, you have to well, it says on the cards themselves if you need to reveal them right away, so just be very careful when reading the card. Some of them are held on to until the end of the game. Others do just different things. You just need to look at them and read them very carefully. So this one is Bittersweet Movement. I have to reveal the card immediately. Player 2 is also a Bittersweet Movement. Reveal the card immediately. And then player 3 is a Bittersweet Symphony Token. So let me explain what happens here. So I'm going to put these to the side for a second. What I have stated in the rules basically says whoever's at the leftmost side of the keyboard has their card go off first, and then it goes from left to right. That's how you determine which card goes off first. So player 1, which is me, I have Bittersweet Movement, which reads, during the next movement, choose 2 movement cards and perform them in any order you're choosing. That's not going to really matter in this case, but there are other cards where it's like switch positions or whatever it may be. So you need to do that first before everyone else does theirs. So mine will proc off first, but that doesn't matter right now. Same thing with player 2. It doesn't matter right now, but that's okay. Player 3 gets a token. So player 3, we'll just put it over there. That's fine. And then after the card has been used, you can put your own I'm just going to put it to the side, but there's an imaginary discard pile that you need to make. So last thing I should mention about these cards specifically, if you ever run out of these cards in this deck over here, then someone needs to take the discard pile, which I put on the side over here, and shuffle it to make a new deck. So now I'm going to talk how a season ends, and there are 2 ways in which a season ends and you move on to a new season. The first way, it's pretty simple. This measure die right here, once it reaches 0, meaning it wouldn't be on the playmat, then that following movement is the last movement for that season. Okay, so let's do a simulation of what happens when the movement die is no longer on the season. We all did our last movements, we got our tokens, I made a purchase, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is where, freaking nails, sorry. This is where the placement comes into play. Very important, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the different, I guess, stations of which melodies are located at. So as you'll notice, the major melody was still a part of the season when it left. So rather than throw this card away, this card is going to move up a position. So having said that, the card on position 4, rather than discard it and no one can purchase it, it's going to go to the bottom of the minor melody deck. That's what I'm doing right here. It goes to the bottom. Oh no. But that's okay, because everything else shifts up a number. And now, when the new season comes out, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Give me a second. Okay. So this is Melodies of Spring. When this comes out, okay, then the major melody for spring, which looks like this cute little guy just chilling there, will be in position 1. So obviously you won't have the melodies of winter anymore. Spring will come out. Everyone will all the pawns will go to the, I'll show you real quick. They'll go to the middle C area, which is right here on spring. And it's like you're starting the game over, when you're really not though, because you're keeping all your Bittersweet Symphony cards, your tokens, etc. And of course the measure die gets reset, and then you just continue onward. The second instance in which, oh, excuse me, I didn't realize I messed that up, so I had to reset everything off camera. But the second instance in which a season leaves and you move on to a new season is when a player purchases the major melody associated with that season. Okay? So if you're in Season of Winter and you have 3 major melodies, once the winter major melody has been purchased, then you move on to the next season. In this case, in this scenario, I decided to rest over here, and I have the tokens associated with the purchase. Oh, wait. There we go. Slipping through my fingers. But anyway, I have the tokens here in my hand, put them back in the pile, and I say, I want this major melody card. It is now mine. Regardless of where the movement die is, you just have to sweep everything the way it is. You keep the minor melodies in those same positions, and then when spring comes out, because spring is the next melody, again, I have to show this one more time. When spring comes out, then the major melody for spring will be in position 1. And everyone will start on the new spring middle C note. You'll keep all your tokens, you'll keep your melodies, your Bittersweet Symphony cards, all that stuff, and you'll just move on with a new movement. Now we come to the game end, and it's pretty simple. I'm just showing you, I'm referencing you the page in which talks about the game end, trying to get that as straight as possible. I can't do it. Okay, I'll just summarize. So in our little example here, when the autumn major melody card is purchased, or the movement die gets removed from the autumn board, then everything stops and the game ends. When that happens, I'm looking at my rules and making sure I got this right. Every major melody card, so every major melody card a person has is worth 5 points. Every minor melody card is worth 2 points. Every Bittersweet Symphony card, if it tells you it's worth points, it's worth points. Let's see if I can find one. Wow, that was a fail. I should have, oh my god, here we go. It looks like this. So every Bittersweet Symphony token card that has that's this one, I guess, Bittersweet Symphony point card is worth a point plus whatever it says. I'm not going to take the time to read it. It's hot. Oh yes, and then lastly, every Bittersweet Symphony token that a player has, there you go, it looks better like that, it is worth 1 point per set of regular note tokens. What that means is if a person has this token in their inventory and they have one set, and the colors are irrelevant because the colors are just nice, but if they have one set of regular note tokens, in this case a quarter note, a half note, and a whole note, then this token is worth 1 point. But if they have several sets because maybe they lost at bidding or something, I don't know, then this token could be worth up to, who knows, maybe 4 or 5 points if they like to hoard notes. Yeah, sure, let's call it that. Lastly, according to the rules that I wrote myself, if you have a tie, whoever has the most major melody card, a tie of points obviously, so whoever has the most major melody cards at the end of the game will win if there's a tie. If there's a tie after that for any unknown reason, then whoever has the most Bittersweet Symphony, get up there, Bittersweet Symphony tokens will win. And that is how you play Melodies of the Seasons. This was a very brief overview of Melodies of the Seasons because there's a lot more to it than that. So if you want to look into the details of it all, check out the PDF on thegamecrafter.com. It's free. You can download it and read those before you start and you'll have a much better time. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye. Done. I'm done, dude. So tired.